Hello, Bob Van Rossum with MarketPro, and we recently had a search that we were in the middle of pitching, right? We were one of the contenders for, and we didn't get it. And it was with a chief marketing officer for an AI firm in Northern California. And the reason we didn't get it was literally a one question kind of interview process that was what the CEO wanted to know. And we didn't have the right answer to that one question. Does that mean that the search firm that had the right answer to that one question was the right resource and had the capabilities necessary to fill the search properly? And I would argue no. Even though the search firm they picked, who I'm very familiar with, good friends with the owner, and is a good firm. They picked a reputable, quality executive search partner who does good work, but is not at all expert on marketing. So how does that unfold, right? And what was the one question that they asked? And what questions should you be asking, which is really the point of this video. If you're interviewing an executive search partner, what are some of the pitfall questions and what are the questions that you should be asking? And we have a whole separate video on, and I'll link it here on how to select an executive search partner. So a CMO search, AI company, Northern California. We get an inquiry via our website from a junior level HR person setting up a pitch, an opportunity for us to present to that individual plus the chief human resources officer about who we are, what we do, and why we're the best fit for the CMO search. And the chief human resources officer, very, very sharp, very good at her job. She understood the value we added, and I believe if the decision had been left to her, they would have selected us as the search partner, right? I mean, we've done 300 plus, we've done more. I've done 300 plus CMO searches at this point in time in my career. I've done 600 plus marketing executive searches at this point in time in my career, plus led teams that have managed many more than that. Everyone on our team is a marketer by trade and training. There's just a lot of value that we add to chief marketing officer executive search and marketing executive search, which is all we do, that other firms, it's hard to compete with based on the number of years we've been doing this. And she understood that, right? She got the value of our process from a research methodology, the value of our process from an interview methodology, the value of our process from how work flows within our organization that's different than other search firms. And she was really kind of the champion for us internally. But at the end of the day, the CEO wanted to know within the last 90, 100 days, what other AI firms have you placed a chief marketing officer for? And we didn't have a good answer to that. But my friend's firm in this case, a guy I know they're very well known for 15 years, did. They had recently done a CMO search for another AI firm within Northern California. And they were ultimately selected to do this. Now, what's interesting about that is about 6 months ago, I get a call from this friend of mine, and he calls me up and he says, hey, we just got a search that you guys probably should be working. And really good firm that he runs, focused on technology. So they do a lot of SaaS work. They're obviously focusing on AI now. And they really do a lot of chief financial officer work, chief operating officer work, chief technology officer work. That's kind of their core strength. And the market-facing, go-to-market roles are not really what they do much of, but they did do this other CMO search. So he and I also spoke about 30 days ago, which is before the whole pitch process started, and we're chatting. I said, hey, how's the CMO search with the AI firm that you guys had that go? He goes, oh, we filled it. And I just spoke to the CEO, and it looks like our person's off to a little bit of a shaky start. I'm worried that we're going to have to replace them. And so the CEO of the second AI firm where we pitched, right, wanted to know, have you done a chief marketing officer search with another AI firm within the last 90 to 100 days? And my friend had a good example, although they're not a marketing specific executive search firm. We, as a marketing executive search firm with, 300 plus CMO searches under our belt, didn't have that answer. But the search that he based that on is not a search that his competitor is happy with. So that's problem A. What's problem B? Problem B is, we've done recent work within your space. And so we've got 4, 5, 6 candidates that interviewed with that client that were ruled out and were not selected because our client didn't think they were strong enough. So they were weaker than the candidate that's not doing a good job. And those are going to be the first 4, 5, 6 candidates the new client gets in their shortlist, right? We're going to recycle those candidates because that means the least amount of work that we have to do internally. And, we may or may not know enough in their case about marketing to determine, are these the right fit, right? Do you really need someone more from a brand and comp side? Do you need someone from a digital performance marketing side? Do you need someone that understands ABM? And those are all things that, based on the fact that the only thing we do is marketing executive search, not only can we help you find, but we can help you determine what you need based on your goals and KPIs and what you want, where you want the organization to be a year, 3 years, 5 years from now. So they base the decision on, have you done recent work in our space? And the firm that they selected, which again is a good search firm, but does not do much marketing work, did have that, but it wasn't a successful search. So that's kind of one question that typically gets asked by, sometimes it's a PE firm, sometimes it's a software firm. A lot of it comes within the world of technology. And why is that question asked, right? Who is telling the CEO this is the question you need to get an answer to? It's someone else from executive search, right? The big companies within our space, the big 5, will encourage CEOs and senior leaders to ask this question because of their size. They have the most likelihood of having a good answer to that question. And so that doesn't mean you're getting the same team or the same process or that other person within the space got. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the search itself was successful, right? So it's kind of a question that's ultimately rather irrelevant in the decision-making process, or should be irrelevant in the decision-making process. What's the second question we get a lot that means nothing relative to the quality of the search firm? The second question is, tell me about your network. And network, again, comes from the big firms telling senior level executives at organizations, this is a question you should ask when selecting a search firm. And so it's kind of like, we're telling you what to ask not because it serves you, but because it serves us. And I don't personally think that's the right way for us to go to market and the right way for us to engage with clients. But the bigger firms are going to have a bigger network. But I've got 88,000 marketers in our applicant tracking system that we've taken through a deep dive interview. If you're talking specifically marketing, there's no one that has a deeper network and a stronger network than MarketPro. But that doesn't mean that I have the right candidates in there for you or the right candidates in there for your search, which is why we don't even look at our network until after our research list is created and we've gone out and found the top 175 or so candidates that may be the right fit for your search. Because if I rely on my network, and the way a lot of search firms process work is they'll go to their network first, present some candidates to the client. If that doesn't work, they then go out and do the research. And it's one of the reasons why searches take longer than they need to, and also why you don't get necessarily the quality you want within your shortlist. So 2 questions to avoid, or 2 questions that are not important when selecting an executive search firm, is tell me about a very, very similar search you've done in the last 90 days. There's a much larger body of work that is important than that. And the other is, tell me about your network.